I stand in front of the three-way mirror at Bella's bridal boutique, and for a moment, I almost look happy. The seamstress, a kind woman named Dorothy, with silver hair and gentle hands, adjusts the veil on my head and smiles at my reflection. My phone buzzes on the chair beside us. Another voicemail. The 17th one from my mother this week. I watch the notification light blink and feel my chest tighten. Dorothy pins the lace at my shoulders and asks if I'm excited about the big day. I force a smile and say yes. But my mind is 3 years away, standing in my parents' living room while my sister Amber collapsed onto the couch, sobbing that I had stolen $30,000 from her college fund. I can still see my father's face turning red, still hear my mother's sharp intake of breath. They believed her. Instantly. Completely. Without question. My protests meant nothing. My father grabbed my arm and threw me out that same night, calling me a thief and a liar. I never stole anything. But nobody asked for proof. The memory sits in my throat like a stone. Dorothy steps back, admiring her work on the dress, and I try to focus on the present. The gown is beautiful, ivory silk with delicate beading along the bodice. It cost me 2 months of savings. Everything about this wedding has cost me something. My fiancé Derek and I have been planning it for 8 months now, and it should be the happiest time of my life. But every time my phone rings with my mother's number, every time I see a missed call from my father, I feel that old wound rip open again. 3 years ago, I was still living in my hometown, working as a junior accountant at a mid-sized firm. I was 26, responsible, reliable, the daughter my parents could count on. My younger sister Amber was 24, finishing her last year at a private college 2 hours away. She had always been the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. I was fine with that. I loved my sister. I thought we were close. That night started like any other family gathering. It was a Saturday evening in September, warm enough to have the windows open. My parents had invited me over for dinner. Amber drove in from school. We ate pot roast and talked about normal things, weekend plans and work gossip and Amber's upcoming graduation. Then, after dessert, Amber excused herself to use the bathroom. When she came back, her eyes were red and swollen. My mother asked what was wrong, and that is when my entire life fell apart. Amber broke down sobbing. She could barely get the words out between gasps. She said she had checked her college fund account that morning and discovered it was empty. $30,000. Gone. Money our grandmother had left specifically for her education. She said there was only one person who had access to that account besides her. Me. She said I had forged her signature on withdrawal slips, that I had taken the money over the course of 6 months, that she had proof, bank records showing my name on the transactions. I remember standing up so fast my chair fell backward. I remember saying, "No, that is not true. I did not do that." I remember my father standing up too, his face purple with rage, his finger pointing at me like a weapon. He did not want to hear my explanations. My mother sat frozen, tears streaming down her face, staring at me like I was a stranger. Amber kept crying, kept saying she could not believe I would do this to her, that she thought I loved her. I tried to show them my bank statements on my phone. I tried to explain that I had never touched that account, that I did not even know how to access it. But my father was already yelling, calling me a liar and a thief, saying I had always been jealous of Amber, that I was a disgrace to the family. He grabbed my purse and my jacket and shoved them at me, told me to get out of his house. My mother just sat there, crying, not saying a word in my defense. I spent that night in my car in a 24-hour grocery store parking lot, shaking and crying and trying to understand what had just happened. I called my sister 15 times. She did not answer. I called my parents. They had blocked my number. By the next morning, I was blocked on all their social media accounts too, completely cut off. No explanation, no trial, no chance to defend myself. Just gone. The weeks that followed were a nightmare. I tried to reach out through mutual friends, through my aunt, through anyone who would listen. but Amber had gotten to them first. Everyone believed her story. I was the villain, the thief, the terrible sister who stole from her own family. I lost friends. I was not invited to family events. My cousin's wedding that fall happened without me. Christmas came and went with no call, no card, nothing. I was erased. I moved to a city 3 hours away and started over. New job, new apartment, new life. I went to therapy. I worked on rebuilding myself. And slowly, painfully, I began to heal. I stopped trying to contact my family. I accepted that they had made their choice. I focused on my career, made new friends, and tried to forget I ever had a sister. Then I met Derek. He was kind and funny and stable. He worked in software development and had a close relationship with his own family. We fell in love. He proposed on a beach at sunset, and I said yes. For the first time in 2 years, I felt genuinely happy. We started planning our wedding for this coming June. I told Derek about my family, about what had happened. He listened and held my hand and said he was sorry I had been through that. He said we would build our own family together. I believed him. But then, 6 weeks ago, my mother started calling. Then my father. Voicemails saying they missed me, that they wanted to talk, that they needed to fix things before my wedding. At first, I deleted them without listening, but they kept coming, multiple times a day. Text messages too, paragraphs about regret and forgiveness and family. I did not respond. I did not owe them anything. They had made their choice 3 years ago. Dorothy finishes the last pin and asks me to turn slowly so she can check the hem. I rotate carefully, watching my reflection in all 3 mirrors. I look like a bride. I look like someone who has moved on. But inside, I am still that girl in the parking lot, still wondering how the people who were supposed to love me most could believe such a terrible lie without even asking for my side of the story. My phone buzzes again. Another voicemail. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. Dorothy tells me the dress is perfect, that I will be a beautiful bride. I thank her and step down from the platform, ready to change back into my regular clothes. The wedding is in 2 months. I have worked so hard to build this new life. I will not let them take it from me. Not again. I am not their fixer anymore. I am not their doormat. I am done. But as I walk to the dressing room with the gown draped over my arm, I have no idea that my family has already found a way back into my life. And the nightmare I thought was over is only just beginning. 2 weeks after the final dress fitting, I am sitting on the floor of our apartment with Derek, surrounded by seating charts and place cards and lists of names. We have been engaged for 10 months now, and the wedding is 63 days away. Everything is coming together. The venue is booked, the caterer confirmed, the flowers ordered. Derek is making jokes about his college roommate who tends to get drunk at weddings, trying to figure out where to seat him so he causes the least chaos. I am laughing, feeling relaxed for the first time in weeks. Then Derek goes quiet. He stops writing on the seating chart and sets down his pen. I look up and see him staring at his hands, his jaw tight. I know that look. Something is wrong. I ask him what is going on. He does not answer right away, just sits there, rubbing the back of his neck in that way he does when he is nervous. Finally, he looks at me and says he needs to tell me something. My stomach drops. Nothing good ever starts with those words. He tells me that my mother contacted him 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. I feel my face flush hot. He says she found him on LinkedIn and sent him a message. Then she called him. He has been talking to my parents on the phone. Multiple conversations. He did not tell me because he did not want to upset me. I cannot breathe. I ask him what he means. Talking to them. About what? He says they told him they are so sorry for what happened, that they want to reconcile before the wedding, that they miss me and want to be part of my life again. He says they sound genuinely remorseful. He thinks I should give them a chance. I stand up so fast the seating chart scatters across the floor. I ask him how he could go behind my back like this, how he could talk to the people who destroyed me without even telling me. He stands too, reaching for my hands, but I pull away. He says he thought he was helping, that he knows how much it hurt me to lose my family, that maybe this is a chance to heal. I tell him he does not understand. He does not know what they did to me. He did not see my father's face that night. He did not spend months trying to prove my innocence to people who would not listen. Derek says he knows it was bad, but people make mistakes. Families fight. Maybe they have realized they were wrong. Then he drops the real bomb. He has already told them they can come to the wedding. I feel like the floor has disappeared beneath me. I ask him what he just said. He repeats it, slower this time, like I am a child who needs simple words. He told my parents they are welcome at our wedding. He thought I would want my family there. He thought he was doing something nice. I start yelling. I cannot help it. I tell him he had no right. This is my wedding too. These are my parents who threw me out and called me a thief. He cannot just invite them back into my life without asking me. He starts yelling back, says I am being unreasonable, that they are my parents and I am holding a grudge, that it has been 3 years, and maybe it is time to forgive. I tell him there is nothing to forgive because I did not do anything wrong. That is the whole point. I was innocent, and they destroyed me anyway. He says everyone makes mistakes. I say throwing your daughter out with no proof and no trial is not a mistake. It is a choice they made, a choice that almost broke me. Derek sits back down on the couch and puts his head in his hands. He says he just wanted to help, that he talked to my parents for hours and they seem really sorry. They told him I was always dramatic, that I hold grudges, that I have a tendency to blow things out of proportion. He says maybe there is more to the story than I told him. That is when I realize what has happened. My family has gotten to him. They have painted a picture where I am the problem, where I am the one who cannot let things go. They have manipulated him the same way they manipulated everyone else 3 years ago. And he believed them. My own fiancé believed them over me. I ask him what else they told him. He hesitates, then admits they offered to pay for part of the wedding, $10,000 toward the venue and catering. I laugh, but it is not a happy sound. Of course they did. They are buying their way back in. Derek says it is not like that. They just want to help, to show they care. I tell him, if he cannot see what they are doing, then we have a much bigger problem than a seating chart. He looks up at me, frustrated, and says I am making this harder than it needs to be. That all he is asking is for me to meet with them, one time, just to hear them out. If I still want nothing to do with them after that, he will support me. But he thinks I should at least give them a chance to apologize properly. I want to say no. I want to refuse completely. But I can see in Derek's eyes that he has already made up his mind about this. If I refuse, he will think I am the unreasonable one. He will think I am being petty and holding on to anger. My family has set this up perfectly. I am trapped. If I do not meet with them, I look like the villain in Derek's eyes. If I do meet with them, they get exactly what they want, a way back into my life. I sit down on the floor and gather the scattered place cards. My hands are shaking. Derek sits next to me and puts his arm around my shoulders. He says he loves me, that he just wants me to be happy, that he thinks having my family at our wedding would make the day more complete. He does not understand that my family are the ones who made me incomplete in the first place. Finally, I agree. I tell him I will meet with them, once, just to prove to him who they really are. He smiles and kisses my forehead and says he is proud of me. I do not feel proud. I feel sick. But at least this way, when they show their true colors, Derek will have to believe me. At least then he will understand. We set the meeting for the following Saturday. Neutral territory, a restaurant halfway between our apartment and my parents' house. Derek makes the call to my mother right then, while I sit on the couch trying not to cry. I hear him talking, hear my mother's voice on the other end, high and excited. She thanks him over and over, tells him he is wonderful, tells him she cannot wait to meet him properly. After he hangs up, Derek comes back to the couch and holds my hand. He tells me everything is going to be okay, that this is a good thing. I nod and say nothing, because I know my family. and I know that nothing about this is going to be okay. They have found a crack in my armor, a way back in through the person I trust most, and I have no idea how much worse things are about to get. But I am about to find out. Saturday arrives too quickly. I barely sleep the night before, my mind racing through every possible scenario. Derek seems excited, almost cheerful as we get ready to leave. He thinks he is helping. He thinks he is reuniting a broken family. I feel like I am walking into an ambush. We drive to the restaurant in Derek's car. He holds my hand and tells me it will be fine. I stare out the window and say nothing. The restaurant is a chain place, nothing special, the kind with too bright lighting and laminated menus. We arrive 10 minutes early. My parents are already there, sitting at a table near the back. When they see us, they stand up. My mother's hand flies to her mouth. My father smiles wide. Derek walks ahead of me and shakes my father's hand. My dad pulls him into a hug, clapping him on the back like they are old friends. My mother hugs Derek too, holding on a little too long, telling him how wonderful it is to finally meet him in person. I stand there feeling like a stranger at my own family reunion. Then my mother turns to me. She has tears in her eyes. She opens her arms and steps forward. I do not move. She falters, her arms dropping slowly. My father clears his throat and says it is good to see me. His voice is careful, measured. I nod. Derek puts his hand on the small of my back and guides me to sit down. We order drinks. My parents ask Derek about his work, his family, his hobbies. They are charming. They laugh at his jokes. They seem genuinely interested in everything he says. I watch them perform, and I feel sick. This is what they do. This is how they make people believe them. Then Amber walks in. I did not know she would be here. Nobody told me. She is 20 minutes late, and when I see her, my breath catches. She is visibly pregnant, maybe 5 or 6 months along. I had no idea. Nobody told me this either. She walks to the table slowly, one hand on her belly. My mother jumps up and fusses over her, pulling out a chair and asking if she needs anything. Amber sits down carefully, looking tired and fragile. She glances at me and gives a small, sad smile. I do not smile back. Derek stands and introduces himself. He congratulates her on the pregnancy. Amber thanks him, her voice soft. She says she was not sure if she should come today, but she really wanted to see me, to try to make things right. My father reaches over and squeezes her hand, telling her she is brave for being here. My mother dabs at her eyes with a napkin and says the pregnancy has made them all realize how precious family is, how life is too short to stay angry, how they have been thinking about me every day for 3 years, and they know now that they made a terrible mistake. My father nods along, his expression serious. He says they have learned the truth about the money, that there was a misunderstanding. I lean forward and ask what truth, what misunderstanding. They exchange glances. My father clears his throat and says it is complicated, that some things got confused, that the details do not matter as much as the fact that they know now they should have listened to me, should have believed me. My mother reaches across the table for my hand. I pull it away. I ask them directly, did Amber take the money? There is a long pause. Amber looks down at her plate. My mother says they are not here to point fingers or assign blame. They are here to heal, to move forward as a family. My father says, what is done, and they just want me back in their lives. That is when Amber drops her bomb. She tells Derek she has been dating his older brother Travis for 8 months. I see Derek's face change, confusion flickering across it. He asks what she means. Amber explains that she and Travis met at a charity event last winter. They have been together ever since. She is carrying his baby. The table goes quiet. I look at Derek and see the truth dawning on his face. He knew. He already knew this. He just did not tell me. I ask him if he knew. He nods slowly, says Travis told him a few months ago. He did not think it mattered. Did not think I needed to know. But it gets worse. Amber says the families have been spending time together. Dinners at Derek's parents' house. Travis bringing her to family barbecues. Our parents meeting his parents. They have all gotten close. Everyone gets along wonderfully. She smiles when she says this, like it is good news. I feel the room tilting. I look at Derek and realize the full extent of what has happened. His entire family has been socializing with my family for months. Without telling me, they have all been part of this. His parents know my parents. They probably talk about me. About poor Gloria, who cannot forgive. Poor Gloria, who is holding on to the past. My father says this is perfect timing, actually. With Amber and Travis having a baby, the families are going to be connected forever. Derek will be an uncle. Our parents will be co-grandparents. It makes sense to heal these wounds now, before the baby comes, before the wedding, so everyone can be together as one big, happy family. My mother suggests a joint celebration, something to honor both the pregnancy and the upcoming wedding. She already has ideas. A garden party, maybe. Or a nice dinner. Something where everyone can come together. She looks at me expectantly, waiting for me to agree. Derek is nodding along. He thinks this sounds nice. He squeezes my hand under the table. I realize I am surrounded, outnumbered. If I refuse, I am the problem. I am the one keeping everyone apart. I am the one being difficult while my sister is pregnant and my family is reaching out and Derek's family is trying to blend with mine. I am the villain again. Amber orders a ginger ale and talks about her morning sickness. My mother tells stories about when she was pregnant with me and Amber. My father and Derek discuss sports. Everyone is acting like this is normal. Like we are a normal family having a normal meal. Like 3 years ago never happened. Like I was never thrown out. Never called a thief. Never erased. I excuse myself to go to the bathroom. My mother asks if I am okay. I say fine and walk away. In the bathroom, I lock myself in a stall and try to breathe. My hands are shaking. My phone buzzes. A text from Derek. This is going well, right? They really do seem sorry. Love you. I want to scream. I want to run. But I have nowhere to go. My family has infiltrated my new life through my sister and my fiancé's brother. They have connected the families. They have made it impossible for me to cut them out without causing problems for Derek, for Travis, for everyone. And Derek cannot see it. He thinks this is healing. He thinks this is progress. I go back to the table. Dessert has been ordered. My parents are looking at wedding magazines on my mother's phone, pointing out flowers and decorations. Amber is showing Derek ultrasound photos. Everyone is smiling. Everyone is happy. Except me. When the check comes, my father insists on paying. He makes a big show of it, telling Derek that it is the least he can do. We all stand to leave. Hugs are exchanged. My mother holds me tight and whispers in my ear that she loves me, that she has always loved me, that she is so sorry. I stand there stiff, not hugging back. When she finally lets go, there are tears on her face. Derek sees this and puts his arm around me, thinking I am the one being cold. In the car on the way home, Derek is ebullient. He says that went better than he expected, that my parents are really trying, that he is glad I gave them a chance. He talks about the joint party idea, says it could be really nice, says his mom will be excited to help plan it. I stare out the window and realize I have lost. My family has won. They have gotten back into my life, and I cannot do anything about it without losing Derek in the process. When we get home, I tell Derek I need some time alone. I go into our bedroom and close the door. I sit on the edge of the bed and try to figure out what to do. But I am trapped. My sister has woven herself into Derek's family. My parents have positioned themselves as the wounded parties who are trying to make amends, and I am the angry daughter who will not forgive. The narrative has been flipped, and I am powerless to stop it. I agree to work on the relationship slowly, buying myself time, but inside, I am screaming, because I know this is not over. This is only the beginning. 3 weeks pass. They are the longest 3 weeks of my life. Derek is happier than I have seen him in months. He talks about the wedding constantly, makes plans for the joint family party, mentions things his mom and my mom have been discussing over text. Apparently, our mothers are now friends. They exchange recipes and talk about grandchildren. It makes me want to throw my phone across the room. I have been cold to Derek. I know I have. I cannot help it. Every time he mentions my family, I shut down. He thinks I am being stubborn, that I am refusing to let go of old hurt. We have been fighting more, little arguments that turn into big ones. He says I am not even trying. I say he does not understand what they did to me. Round and round we go. At work one Tuesday afternoon, I get an email. The subject line reads, "You deserve to know the truth." No name, just a generic email address that looks like random letters and numbers. I almost delete it, thinking it is spam. But something makes me open it. Inside is a single line of text and an attachment. The text says, "She lied about everything. Here is proof." My heart starts pounding. I download the attachment. It is a zip file full of documents, bank records, ATM receipts, credit card statements, text message, screenshots, all dated from 3 years ago, all with Amber's name on them. I start reading. The bank records show Amber's college fund account, multiple withdrawals over 6 months, all made by her signature, her ID used for verification. The money did not go to me. It went to cash withdrawals and transfers to other accounts in her name. Then I see the ATM receipts. A casino 2 hours from her college. Multiple transactions. Hundreds of dollars at a time. Sometimes thousands. Withdrawal after withdrawal. Dates match up with when the money disappeared from her account. Amber was gambling. She was taking her own money and losing it at a casino. The credit card statements show more. Debts to online gambling sites. Cash advance fees. Interest piling up. She owed money everywhere. There are screenshots of messages between Amber and people with names like Tony and Vic, people asking when she is going to pay them back, people threatening her. Loan sharks. She had borrowed money from dangerous people. I sit at my desk staring at my computer screen, and I feel vindicated and devastated at the same time. I was right. I never touched that money. Amber stole it herself and gambled it away. Then, when she got desperate and in debt to the wrong people, she blamed me. She destroyed my life to cover her own mistakes. All of it, the crying, the accusations, the family turning against me, all of it was a lie. A calculated, deliberate lie. I print everything. I save it to 3 different flash drives. I forward it to my personal email. I am not taking any chances. This is proof. Real, concrete proof. Finally, after 3 years, I have evidence that I was telling the truth all along. I leave work early, telling my boss I am not feeling well. I drive home clutching the folder of printouts like a lifeline. Derek is already there when I arrive, working from home today. I burst through the door and call his name. He comes out of the home office looking concerned, asking what is wrong. I tell him I need to show him something important. We sit on the couch and I spread the documents out on the coffee table. I explain what they are, where they came from. I show him the bank records, the casino receipts, the threatening messages. I tell him this is proof that Amber lied, that I was innocent, that everything I have been saying for 3 years is true. Derek picks up the papers slowly. He looks through them, his brow furrowed. I wait for relief to wash over his face. Wait for him to apologize, to say he should have believed me from the start. But instead, he sets the papers down and looks at me with something that makes my blood run cold. Skepticism. He asks where I got these. I tell him they came in an email. He asks from who. I say I do not know. It was anonymous. He picks up one of the bank statements and examines it closely. Asks if I am sure these are real. I tell him of course they are real. Why would they not be? He sets it down carefully and looks at me. He says it is convenient that this evidence shows up now, right when my family is trying to reconnect, right when things are getting better. He asks if I had these documents made, if I paid someone to create them. I cannot breathe. I ask him what he is saying. He says he is just asking questions, that these are serious accusations against my sister, that anyone with basic photo editing skills could fake bank records, that the email being anonymous is suspicious. How do I know this is real? How do I know someone is not trying to cause problems? I start yelling. I tell him I did not fake anything. Why would I do that? He says maybe because I cannot let go, because I am obsessed with being right, because I would rather tear my family apart than admit that maybe, just maybe, there was a misunderstanding 3 years ago, and I have been holding on to anger for too long. I feel like he just slapped me. I ask him if he seriously thinks I would fabricate evidence. He says he does not know what to think, but he knows my family has been nothing but kind and apologetic for weeks. They seem genuinely sorry. They seem like they are trying. And now suddenly, mysteriously, I have all this evidence that makes Amber look terrible. It feels calculated. It feels like I am trying to sabotage the reconciliation because I cannot handle forgiveness. I gather up all the papers and stand. I tell him he is supposed to be on my side. He stands too, and says he is on the side of truth. And the truth is, he has spent hours talking to my parents, and they seem like good people who made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. But this, he waves his hand at the documents. This looks like I am going out of my way to vilify them, to make sure I can keep being the victim. I am crying now, angry tears that I hate. I tell him I am not a victim. I am a survivor of a lie that destroyed my life. He says maybe I need to think about why I need to keep that narrative going, why I cannot just accept their apology and move on. He says if I cannot forgive my family, maybe we should not get married. Because marriage is about compromise and forgiveness, and I do not seem capable of either. The room spins. I ask him if he just gave me an ultimatum. He says he is just being honest. He needs to know I can let go of the past. He needs to know I can be reasonable. Otherwise, what kind of marriage will we have? Will I hold grudges against him too? Will I refuse to forgive when he makes mistakes? He needs me to prove I can move forward. And that means accepting my family back into my life and letting this investigation obsession go. I stand there holding the folder of evidence, the proof I thought would save me. But it has done the opposite. It has made me look crazy, obsessive, unable to move on. Derek is looking at me like I am a stranger, like I am the problem. And I realize my family has won again. They have turned the one person who was supposed to love me unconditionally against me. They have made him doubt me. And there is nothing I can say, no proof I can show, that will change his mind. He leaves, says he is going to stay at his brother Travis's place for a few days, says we both need space to think, says when he comes back, he needs to know I am ready to be part of a family again. His family and mine, all together. Or he does not know if he can marry me. The door closes behind him. I stand alone in our apartment, surrounded by evidence nobody will believe, and I realize I am more trapped than ever. So I make a decision. I will hire a private investigator. I will get more proof. Undeniable proof. Even if it costs me everything I have. Because I am not crazy. I am not lying. And I will prove it. I spend $3,000. I do not have hiring a private investigator named Harris. He is a former police detective, recommended by a lawyer I found online. He has kind eyes and a no-nonsense way of speaking. I show him everything. The anonymous email, the bank records, the whole story from 3 years ago. He listens without interrupting, taking notes. When I finish, he nods and says he will look into it. He tells me not to get my hopes up, but he will do his best. Derek has been gone for 6 days. He texts occasionally, but keeps the messages short. He is staying with Travis and Amber. My sister is apparently over there all the time now. They are all becoming close. One big, happy family. Without me. On day 7, Harris calls. His voice is urgent. He says we need to meet immediately. He will not tell me why over the phone. We meet at a coffee shop near my office. I get there first, order a coffee I do not drink, sit at a table in the back corner, and wait. Harris arrives 15 minutes later carrying a manila folder and looking grim. He sits down across from me and does not waste time with pleasantries. He tells me he has been following Amber for the past week, watching her patterns, documenting her activities, and he found something big. He opens the folder and slides photos across the table. They are surveillance shots of Amber. In some, she is walking into a gym. In others, she is at a grocery store. Nothing unusual. Then he shows me another photo. This one is time-stamped from inside the gym, taken through a window. Amber is standing by a locker, and she is not pregnant. She is wearing workout clothes, and her stomach is completely flat. No baby bump at all. I stare at the photo. I do not understand. Harris explains that Amber has been wearing a fake pregnancy belly. He watched her put it on in her car before going into a restaurant to meet Travis. Watched her take it off at the gym when she thought nobody was looking. The entire pregnancy is fake. My mind is reeling. I ask why. Why would she fake a pregnancy? Harris says he wondered the same thing, so he kept digging. And what he found is worse. Much worse. He pulls out more documents. Phone records showing Amber has been in contact with a law firm that specializes in psychiatric commitments. He managed to get copies of emails through some contacts he has. Amber has been consulting with a lawyer about having someone involuntarily committed for psychiatric evaluation. That someone is me. Harris shows me the emails. Amber has been building a case that I am mentally unstable. She has created fake text messages that appear to come from my phone number, messages threatening her and the baby. Violent, disturbing messages. She has shown these to Derek's family, to her parents, probably to Derek too. She is painting a picture of me as dangerous, obsessed, potentially violent. The plan is simple and terrifying. Get Derek to agree that I need psychiatric help. Have me involuntarily committed for evaluation. Once I am in a psychiatric facility, even for a 72-hour hold, my credibility is destroyed forever. Nobody will believe anything I say. I will lose my job, my reputation, everything. And Amber will have free access to Derek and Travis and whatever money she can manipulate out of them. Harris is not finished. He tells me he ran a background check on Amber. This is not the first time she has done something like this. 3 years ago, in another state, there was a man named Eugene. He was a wealthy investor. Amber dated him briefly, gained his trust, then systematically destroyed his life with false accusations and manufactured evidence. Eugene lost his business, his reputation, and nearly lost his freedom. He is still rebuilding. Harris found him and spoke to him. Eugene is willing to testify about what Amber did to him if needed. I sit there, numb, trying to process everything. My sister is not pregnant. She is planning to have me committed to a psychiatric facility. She has done this before to someone else. This is not about family or reconciliation. This is about money and control and destroying anyone who gets in her way. And I am her current target. Harris says I need to act fast. Based on the timeline in the emails, Amber is planning to make her move soon, possibly this week. He advises me to get a lawyer, to go to the police with everything he has found, but he warns me it will be hard to prove. The fake text messages look real. Amber has been very careful. And with Derek believing I am the problem, it will be my word against my entire family. I thank Harris and take all the evidence. I drive home in a daze. When I walk into the apartment, I freeze. Derek is there, but he is not alone. Sitting on my couch are my parents, Amber and Travis. They all turn to look at me when I walk in. And I know immediately that this is it. This is the intervention Amber has been planning. And I have walked right into it. My mother stands up, her face concerned. She says they are all here because they love me and they are worried about me. My father says I have not been acting like myself. Travis looks uncomfortable but says nothing. Derek comes over to me, his face pained, and asks me to sit down. He says they all just want to talk. I ask what this is. Amber, still wearing her fake belly, says softly that I have been sending her threatening messages, that she is scared of me, that she does not feel safe. She holds up her phone, showing screenshots of the fake texts Harris warned me about. Violent threats against her and the baby, all supposedly from my number. I try to show them the evidence Harris gave me. The photos of Amber without the pregnancy belly, the background on Eugene, but they do not want to see it. My mother says I have become obsessed with tearing Amber down. My father says these accusations are getting out of control. Derek takes my phone away gently, saying I need help, real help. They tell me they have contacted a crisis counselor. That person is waiting outside. They want me to voluntarily admit myself for a psychiatric evaluation. They say it is for my own good, that I am not well, that the stress of the wedding and the family reconciliation has been too much for me. They say they love me, and they want me to get better. I refuse. I say I am not crazy, that Amber is lying, that I can prove it, but that only makes me sound more unhinged. Derek is crying now. He says he is doing this because he loves me. He has already signed the paperwork. He has the legal right as my fiancé. The crisis counselor comes in. I am told that if I do not go voluntarily, they will have me taken involuntarily. They have the fake text messages as evidence that I am a danger to others. I look around the room at all these people. My family who threw me away, my fiancé who chose them over me, and I realize I have no choice. If I fight, it will only make me look worse. An ambulance is already outside. I see the lights through the window. They planned this perfectly, timed it so I would walk in and be surrounded. No escape, no way out. I am trapped. So I go. I walk out to the ambulance with a paramedic on each side. Derek is behind me, telling me it will be okay, that this is for the best. I do not say anything. I cannot, because anything I say will be used against me. I am taken away to a psychiatric facility for a 72-hour hold, and as we drive away, I see Amber watching from the apartment window. She is smiling. The psychiatric facility is cold and sterile, and everything feels like a nightmare I cannot wake up from. They take my phone, my wallet, my belt, my shoes. I am given paper scrubs and foam slippers, and led to a small room with a bed that is more like a cot and a window with bars over it. A nurse comes in and asks me questions from a clipboard. Am I hearing voices? Do I want to hurt myself or others? Do I know where I am? I answer calmly, clearly. No, yes. She writes things down and leaves. A psychiatrist comes to see me that evening. He is an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He sits across from me and reviews notes on a tablet. He says my fiancé contacted them with concerns about my mental health, that I have been sending threatening messages to my pregnant sister, that my family has noticed erratic behavior, paranoid accusations, an inability to distinguish reality from delusion. He asks me to tell him my side. I tell him the truth. About being falsely accused 3 years ago. About my sister faking her pregnancy. About the evidence I found. About the private investigator. But as the words come out of my mouth, I hear how they sound. Paranoid. Delusional. Like someone who cannot accept reality. The psychiatrist nods along, writing notes, his face carefully neutral. When I finish, he asks if I have been under a lot of stress lately. I say yes. He says stress can sometimes make us see things that are not there, create narratives to explain feelings of persecution. I tell him I am not imagining this. He says that is what everyone says. He prescribes me medication for anxiety and tells me to rest. I do not take the medication. The 72 hours feel like 72 years. I am interviewed twice more by different doctors. They ask the same questions. I give the same answers. They look at me with that same pitying expression, the one that says they have seen this before, the one that says I need help. On the 3rd day, they discharge me. They tell me I do not meet criteria for continued hospitalization, but they note in my file that I would benefit from outpatient therapy. The hold is on my record now, forever. When I get out, Derek picks me up. The ride home is silent. He does not ask how I am, does not apologize, just drives. When we get to the apartment, I reach for the door handle and it does not open. The locks have been changed. Derek hands me a key from his pocket and says he had them changed for safety, so I cannot get in when he is not home. He says it is temporary, until I am better. Inside, I see that my things have been moved, packed into boxes in the corner of the living room. Derek says he thought it would be better if I stayed with a friend for a while, that we need space, that the wedding is off. He cannot marry someone who needs the kind of help he cannot provide. I ask if he is breaking up with me. He says he does not know. He just needs time. He needs me to prove I can be stable, can be rational, can accept reality. I find out later what happened while I was locked up. Derek called my employer, a conservative corporate accounting firm, told them I was having a mental health crisis, that I was in a psychiatric facility. They put me on immediate leave, said I can reapply for my position once I provide medical clearance, which means I have no job, no income, and a psychiatric hold on my record that will follow me. Amber moved forward with her plans. She announced to Travis and Derek that she had a miscarriage the day after I was taken away. There was no baby to lose, but nobody knows that. She cried and grieved, and everyone comforted her. She blamed the stress I caused for the loss, said my threats and harassment put her under too much strain. Derek's family rallied around her. My parents, too. They all blamed me for the death of a baby that never existed. Then, 2 days after I was committed, Amber revealed to Travis that she could not be with him anymore. The loss was too much. She needed time and space. Travis was devastated. But Amber did not leave him alone for long. She started spending time with Derek instead, offering comfort, understanding what he was going through with his crazy fiancé. They bonded over their shared trauma, over trying to help me and being rejected. Derek was vulnerable, hurting, confused. Amber was there, beautiful and sad and sympathetic, and he fell for it. I learn all this from my best friend Melissa. She has been trying to reach me. When she finally gets through, I tell her everything. She believes me. She is the only one. She offers me her spare bedroom, and I move in that night with my boxes. I have nowhere else to go. From Melissa's apartment, I try to piece together what happened. I search social media from her account, since I am blocked everywhere. I find photos of Derek and Amber together, coffee dates, walks in the park, his arm around her shoulders. The comments are supportive, everyone saying how glad they are that Derek has a friend during this difficult time, how strong Amber is after losing her baby, how tragic the whole situation is. But it gets worse. Through some searching, Melissa finds legal documents online, public records. Derek signed a power of attorney form. It lists Amber as having authority to make medical and financial decisions for him if he is incapacitated. She convinced him to do it after I was committed, said it was just in case, said with everything happening, he should have someone he could trust. He signed it without question. There is more. Derek updated his will. Melissa finds the notice filed with the county. Travis and Amber are now primary beneficiaries. Not me, them. Derek has a trust fund from his grandparents. Over $2 million. He has a life insurance policy through his work. Another $500,000. All of it now goes to Travis and Amber if he dies. She has positioned herself perfectly. And then I understand. This was never about the wedding. Never about family. This is about money. Amber has spent months setting this up. The fake pregnancy got her close to Travis and Derek's family. The false accusations got me out of the way. The psychiatric hold destroyed my credibility. Now she has access to Derek, has power of attorney, has herself written into his will. She is planning to kill him, or have him killed. And when she does, she will inherit everything. And everyone will believe whatever story she tells, because I am the crazy ex-fiancé who sent threatening messages and had to be institutionalized. I tell Melissa my theory. She does not think I am paranoid. She says we need to go to the police. But with what evidence? The psychiatric hold makes me look unstable. Amber has been so careful. I call Harris, my private investigator. He says he will keep looking, but he warns me that I am running out of time and money. I have spent almost everything I had on his fees. I have no job, no home, no credibility. Amber has won. She has taken everything from me. My family, my fiancé, my reputation, my life. I am exactly where she wanted me, destroyed and powerless. I sit on Melissa's couch that night and cry until I have nothing left. I have hit bottom, lost everything, and the person who destroyed me is out there right now, probably with Derek, planning her next move, planning how to take his money and his life, and there is nothing I can do to stop her. Except I realize something in that dark moment on the couch. I am not done. Not yet. I have been playing defense this whole time, reacting to her moves, trying to prove my innocence. But innocence does not matter anymore. All that matters is stopping her. And to do that, I need to stop trying to convince people of the truth. I need to trap her in a lie so big she cannot escape it. I need to make her reveal herself. And I finally know how. I spend the next 2 days planning. Harris comes to Melissa's apartment and we work out every detail. It has to be perfect. One chance. If we fail, Amber wins everything. If we succeed, I get my life back. Maybe. First, I need money. Melissa offers to help, but she does not have much. I call my aunt, my mother's sister, who always liked me. She lives across the country and has not been involved in the family drama. I tell her a simplified version of what happened. She believes me, or at least believes me enough to wire me $5,000. It is everything I have left to work with. Harris uses the money to contact Eugene, the man from 3 years ago that Amber destroyed. Eugene is hesitant at first. He does not want to relive that nightmare. But when Harris explains what Amber is doing now, that she is about to destroy another life, Eugene agrees to help. He flies in from his home state and we meet. He is thin and worn down, older than I expected. He tells me his story. How Amber targeted him, gained his trust, then systematically ruined him with false accusations of assault. How he lost his business, his savings, nearly went to prison. How it took him 3 years to even begin to rebuild. He shows me documents, evidence he kept, more pieces of the puzzle. Proof that Amber is a con artist who has done this before. Next, Harris works on finding out who sent me that anonymous email with the original bank records. He traces the IP address, does some digging, and finds out it was someone Amber went to college with. A woman named Sarah, who watched Amber gamble away her tuition money and felt guilty for not saying something sooner. Harris contacts Sarah and she agrees to provide a statement. Another witness. Another piece of evidence. But we need more. We need Amber to confess. We need her to reveal her real plans on record. And that means we need someone she will trust. Someone she thinks is an ally. Someone she thinks is another mark she can manipulate. That is where Eugene comes in. Harris creates a fake identity for him. A wealthy investor named Richard who is new in town and looking for opportunities. Through careful social media manipulation and some help from Harris's contacts, Richard gets introduced to Derek through a business networking event. Derek is there because Amber convinced him to start looking at investment opportunities. She is already planting seeds about how to access his trust fund, how to make it grow, how to make more money, all so she can take it later. Richard befriends Derek over the course of 2 weeks. They meet for coffee, for lunch, for drinks. Richard is charming and generous, and everything Amber looks for in a target. When he meets Amber, she is immediately interested. He has money. He has connections. He is perfect. Richard lets her think she is seducing him, lets her believe she is playing him. But the whole time, he is wearing a wire, recording every conversation. It takes another week before Amber trusts Richard enough to start revealing her real nature. She tells him about her tragic past, how her sister is mentally ill and dangerous, how she is protecting Derek from me, how she miscarried a baby because of the stress I caused. Richard sympathizes. offers support, asks if there is anything he can do to help. Amber, sensing opportunity, starts to hint at bigger plans. She talks about Derek's trust fund, about how he is too naive to manage that kind of money properly, about how someone needs to make smart decisions for him. She mentions the power of attorney she has, says it is just a precaution, but the way she talks about it makes it clear she sees it as a tool. Richard asks what she means. Amber laughs and says wealthy men need guidance, especially when they are grieving or confused, especially when they are vulnerable. She does not say the words outright, but the implication is clear. Over several recorded conversations, Amber reveals more. She tells Richard about the fake pregnancy, laughs about how easy it was to fool everyone, talks about the fake text messages she created to frame me, brags about how she got me committed, says it was the smartest move she made because now nobody believes anything I say. She is proud of it, proud of destroying me. Then she goes further. She tells Richard she has done this before, mentions Eugene by name, says he was good practice, but she learned from her mistakes, got better at it. Says this time, she is going to do it right, going to get the money, and disappear before anyone figures out what happened. Richard asks how. Amber leans in close, and on the recording, you can hear her whisper. She is researching ways to make Derek's death look like an accident. Car crash, maybe, or an overdose. Something that would not raise suspicion. With the power of attorney and the updated will, she will inherit everything. $2 million, plus the life insurance. She will blame it on the stress of everything with me. Say he was depressed and heartbroken, and everyone will believe her. When Richard, still wired, expresses concern, asks if she is serious, Amber laughs. She says of course she is serious. This is what she does. She finds wealthy, vulnerable men. She destroys anyone in her way. She takes their money, and she moves on. She has been planning this for over a year, since she first heard Derek mention his trust fund, since she realized she could use me, use the old accusation, to get close to him. Everything, from the moment she started dating Travis, to the fake pregnancy, to getting me committed, all of it was calculated. All of it was part of the plan. Harris has everything on tape. Multiple conversations. Amber confessing to fraud, to conspiracy, to commit murder, to destroying Eugene, to framing me. It is enough. More than enough. We take it all to the police. Eugene comes with us to give his statement. Sarah provides her testimony about the gambling. The detective who takes our report listens to the recordings, and his face goes pale. He says they will investigate immediately. It takes 2 days. Police verify everything. They check Eugene's story against old police reports from his state. They confirm the fake text messages came from a spoofing service Amber paid for. They bring in a tech expert who confirms the pregnancy belly in Harris's photos is a prosthetic. They get a warrant for Amber's computer and find her research. Websites about undetectable poisons. Forums about making deaths look accidental. Drafts of fake suicide notes in Derek's name. Everything is there. Everything we said. All of it true. All of it documented. They arrest Amber on a Thursday morning. I am not there. I do not want to be. But Harris calls me and tells me it happened. She was at Derek's apartment. She tried to run. They stopped her. Derek was there when they arrested her. He heard the charges. Conspiracy to commit murder. Fraud. Identity theft. Falsifying evidence. They played him some of the recordings. His face, Harris tells me, went completely white. I get a call later that day from the detective. He says they need me to come in and give a formal statement. They apologize for not believing me sooner. They say my record will be cleared. The psychiatric hold will be noted as based on false evidence. My employer will be contacted and told the truth. Everything will be made right. They say it like it is easy. Like my life was not completely destroyed. Like I can just go back to normal now. But I go in. I give my statement. I sit across from the detective and tell him everything, start to finish. He records it all. asks follow-up questions, thanks me for my patience, says Amber is being held without bail. She is dangerous, a flight risk. She will not be getting out. That evening, Derek shows up at Melissa's apartment. Melissa answers the door and tries to send him away, but I tell her it is okay. I come to the door. Derek looks terrible. He has not shaved. His eyes are red. He asks if we can talk. I step outside and close the door behind me. We stand in the hallway of Melissa's building and he breaks down. He apologizes, says he was so wrong, that he should have believed me, that he was manipulated and fooled and he is so sorry. He says he loves me, that he wants to fix this, that we can still get married, still have the life we planned. He reaches for my hand. I step back. I tell him I am glad he is safe. I am glad Amber did not hurt him, but we are done. He asks what I mean. I tell him exactly what I mean. He chose my abuser over me. He signed paperwork to have me locked up. He changed the locks on our apartment. He put someone else in his will. He believed every lie Amber told and refused to even consider that I might be telling the truth. I cannot trust him. I will never trust him again. Love is not enough. Trust matters, and he destroyed ours. He starts crying, says he was manipulated, that it was not his fault. I tell him he made choices. He chose to talk to my family behind my back. He chose to invite them to our wedding without asking me. He chose to believe them over me again and again. Those were his choices, not Amber's, his. And I cannot forgive that. I will not. I go back inside and close the door. I hear him standing out there for a long time. Eventually, he leaves. Melissa hugs me, asks if I am okay. I say no, but I will be. Someday. Just not today. My parents call the next day. I do not answer. They leave voicemails. My mother is crying, saying she is sorry, that they did not know, that they should have believed me. My father says he failed me as a parent, that he wants to make it right, that I will always be his daughter. I delete the messages without listening to the whole thing. I do not owe them anything. Not my time, not my forgiveness, not my presence in their lives. They made their choice 3 years ago. They doubled down on it 3 weeks ago. Regret is not redemption. Being sorry is not enough. 6 months later, I am sitting in a coffee shop in a different city, 300 miles from where my nightmare began. The morning sun comes through the window and lights up my laptop screen. I am working on a financial report for my new job, a position at a progressive firm that values transparency and second chances. They hired me after I explained everything, after they did their due diligence and saw that my record had been cleared, that the psychiatric hold had been proven false, that I was the victim in an elaborate con. My boss is a woman named Catherine, who survived her own family trauma and built a career on helping other women do the same. She took a chance on me. I will not let her down. My phone buzzes. A text from Melissa. She is asking if I want to come over for dinner this weekend. She lives 2 hours away now, but we make time for each other. She is my family, the family I chose, the sister who actually showed up when I needed one. I text back yes and add a heart emoji. Real family does not have to be blood. I also get a text from someone new. His name is Aaron. We met at a community center where I volunteer, teaching financial literacy to people recovering from abuse. He is a high school teacher, kind and patient and genuine. We have been dating for 2 months. He knows my whole story. I told him everything on our 3rd date, because I will not build a relationship on secrets or half-truths. He listened, and then he said thank you for trusting him with that. We are taking things slow, very slow, but it feels right. It feels safe. He texts to say he hopes I have a good day. I smile and text back. The legal proceedings took months. Amber's trial was supposed to happen, but she took a plea deal. 20 years in prison for conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, identity theft, and a list of other charges as long as my arm. Eugene testified at her sentencing hearing. So did I. We told the judge everything she had done. The judge called her a danger to society and gave her the maximum sentence. She will be eligible for parole in 14 years. I hope I never see her again. Derek tried to reach out several times in the months after Amber's arrest. Long emails apologizing, explaining, begging for another chance. I never responded. Eventually they stopped. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he moved to another state, started over somewhere new. Good for him. I hope he learned something. I hope he is more careful about who he trusts. But that is not my problem anymore. Travis went to rehab. He was drinking heavily after everything fell apart. He sent me an apology letter through his therapist. It was genuine, raw, painful to read. He took responsibility for his part in believing Amber, in pressuring me at that awful intervention. I wrote him back and told him I appreciated the apology, that I hoped he healed. We are not friends. We will never be friends. But I do not hate him. He was a victim too. Just like Derek. Just like Eugene. Amber left damage everywhere she went. My parents are a different story. They have tried everything to reach me. Letters, emails, showing up at Melissa's old apartment, contacting my employer. They want to make amends. They want me back in their lives. They say they are getting therapy, that they understand now how badly they failed me, that they want a relationship with me. I have not responded to a single attempt. I owe them nothing. They are strangers to me now. Strangers who destroyed me twice. Strangers who chose my abuser over me, who threw me away without proof, who participated in having me committed. I do not care if they are sorry. I do not care if they regret it. Regret is not redemption. You do not get to hurt someone that badly and expect forgiveness just because you finally realized you were wrong. Sometimes people ask me if I will ever reconcile with my family, if I will give them a chance to make it right. I tell them no. Some bridges are meant to stay burned. Some people do not deserve access to you, no matter how much they apologize. My parents taught me that I could not trust them, that their love was conditional, that they would believe lies about me rather than fight for me. Why would I want people like that in my life? Why would I subject myself to more pain? Why would I give them another chance to fail me? Instead, I have built a new life, a better life. I have an apartment I love in a neighborhood full of trees and good coffee shops. I have a job where I am respected and valued. I have friends who actually show up for me. I have Melissa, who is more of a sister than Amber ever was. I have Aaron, who treats me like I matter, like my voice matters, like my boundaries matter. I have a therapist who helps me process everything and teaches me that healing is not linear. Some days are hard. Some days the anger comes back. Some days I cry for the family I thought I had but never really did, and that is okay. I am allowed to grieve. I am allowed to be angry. I am allowed to protect myself. The other day I got a letter from the state. Amber is trying to appeal her sentence. She is claiming she was coerced, that she is mentally ill, that she deserves leniency. I read the letter and laughed. Even now, she is still lying, still manipulating, still playing the victim. I wrote a response to the court explaining that I oppose any reduction in her sentence, that she knew exactly what she was doing, that she is dangerous and calculating, and should serve every single day she was given. I do not know if it will matter, but I said my piece. I have also been contacted by 2 other women, one from 5 years ago, one from 8 years ago. Amber apparently has a pattern going back further than anyone realized. These women found me through news articles about the case. They want to tell their stories too, want to make sure Amber never gets out early. We are working with the prosecutor to document everything, to create a record of exactly what kind of person Amber is, so that when she comes up for parole in 14 years, the board will see the truth, all of it. People sometimes say I should write a book about what happened, turn it into something positive. I do not know if I will, maybe someday. For now, I am just living, working, healing, building. I volunteer twice a week teaching people how to spot financial abuse and emotional manipulation. I tell them my story. I show them the red flags I missed. I help them understand that abusers are often charming and convincing, that they will turn your own loved ones against you, that you are not crazy for seeing what others refuse to see, that you have to trust yourself, even when everyone else says you are wrong. Especially then. Last week, one of the women in my class came up to me after and said I saved her life. She said she was in a situation just like mine, that her family was choosing her abusive partner over her, that she thought she was going crazy. But hearing my story gave her the courage to leave, to save herself. She cried and hugged me and thanked me. I cried too, because that is the point. That is why I survived all of this. Not just to save myself, but to help others see that they can save themselves too. That you do not need anyone's permission to protect yourself. That you do not need anyone's validation to know your own truth. I still think about that night sometimes. The night my father threw me out. The night Amber lied, and my parents believed her without question. I think about how different my life would be if they had just asked for proof. If they had just listened to me. If they had just loved me enough to fight for me instead of against me. But then I think about who I am now. Stronger, wiser, free. I do not need their validation anymore. I do not need their love. I have my own love, my own strength, my own truth, and that is enough. The wedding that never happened does not matter. The family that disowned me does not matter. The sister who tried to destroy me is exactly where she belongs. And I am here, in my new city, in my new life, drinking my coffee and finishing my work and planning dinner with a man who actually sees me, who actually believes me, who actually values me. This is my redemption, not forgiveness, not reconciliation, just freedom, just peace, just the life I built from the ashes of the one they burned down. Sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. It is simply living well. It is refusing to let them break you. It is choosing yourself when everyone else chose your abuser. It is walking away and never looking back. My family wanted me to be their fixer, to smooth things over, to make them feel better about what they did. But I am not their fixer anymore. I am not their scapegoat. I am not their victim. I am just me, Gloria, survivor, thriver, free. And to anyone listening who is in a similar situation, who has been falsely accused, who has been chosen against, who has been gaslit and manipulated, and told they are the problem when they know they are not, I want you to hear this. You are not crazy. You are not wrong. Your truth matters. And you do not owe forgiveness to people who refuse to see it. You do not owe access to people who hurt you. You do not owe anything to anyone except yourself. Choose yourself. Save yourself. Build your own life. And do not ever, ever let anyone tell you that your boundaries are too harsh, or your standards are too high, or your unwillingness to forgive is a character flaw. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away, and stay away. Regret is not redemption. Being sorry is not enough. Protect yourself. Always. So, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where your family chose the wrong side? Where they believed someone else's lies over your truth? How did you handle it? Did you reconcile, or did you walk away? I would love to hear your stories in the comments. And if this resonated with you, if you know someone who needs to hear this message, please share this video. Hit that like button if you believe survivors deserve to protect themselves, and subscribe for more stories about overcoming, healing, and choosing yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I hope you choose yourself today, tomorrow, and every day after. You deserve that. You deserve peace. You deserve freedom. You deserve a life built on truth, not lies. Take care of yourselves out there. And remember, you are not alone.